Hi, we're here today at Pace Studio. Very special morning with Robert Randolph, the great Robert Randolph.
Thank you.
Who's here today to just chat with us and learn about his new album called Got Soul. And he has brought his steel guitar with him, which he might break out now and again during the interview. But thank you so much for
Thank you.
being
Thanks for
here
having
with
me.
us
I'm
today.
so excited to be here early in the morning.
Yeah,
and
bright
hanging
and
out.
early.
Yes.
Bright and early. We're really excited to have you here with us.
Thank you.
We're really big fans of you here at Paste.
Thank you. I appreciate everything.
And so Got Soul, what I was most struck by, and I'm sure you've been asked this a lot, this album was kind of meant to be like a reach back to your childhood roots.
Yeah.
Where you kind of like came up as a musician, meaning that you kind of came up in the church in New Jersey, where you were surrounded by a lot of gospel music. You were trained on the pedal steel, which they called sacred steel.
Yeah.
And you said that you kind of grew up almost entirely unaware of different genres of music because you were so ensconced in the community.
Oh, yeah.
And so I guess I'm wondering, at what age did you start to connect with different genres like rock and soul? And
what age?
funk?
That would be like 19, 18, 19, and so forth. So it's funny because, actually when I was 20, at the first actual Sacred Steel convention, there's a guy named Jim Marco. I met him there, and he's like, "Hey, have you heard of this one? Have you been listening to this? What you been listening?" Like, well, I heard of those guys, but I really don't listen to that. I mean, I only listen to Stevie Ray Vaughan up to that point, maybe some jazz musicians, Miles Davis and so on. So after meeting him, I got home, maybe about 3 days later, there was this huge box. This is how funny times change, and of all CDs, probably of 100 CDs from everybody, Allman Brothers, James Brown, the band. It was probably 12 different CDs of the band, the Beatles, this, that, and so on. And that was like the beginning of my whole cross genre musical library back then. So yeah, that's how I started to learn about everybody. Wasn't that long ago, folks. I told you I was about 20. Actually, I was 21 years old.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. Yeah.
I mean, I was given a tape of Stevie Ray Vaughan when I was 17. So I listened to that every day for probably about 3 years.
Yeah.
And, growing up in New Jersey, in Irvington, Newark, New Jersey, we would just listen to Biggie and Tupac and all of P. Diddy back in the day and R&B. And then all of the gospel music, of course. Because we were only really allowed to listen to gospel music. My grandmother and mother and all of them didn't want us.
So how did they take it when you started playing the CDs that you were given?
Well, they was like, what was this? What is this you listen to? What is all this stuff?
Yeah.
You know, and everybody thinks when your kid starts exploring, they think I got a weird kid here. What's going on?
That reminds me a little bit of Almost Famous, like the scene where William gets that box of that pile of records from his sister.
Exactly.
Of Simon and Garfunkel and The Who.
Yeah.
And his mother is like,
it's funny
they're on drugs.
Yeah. It's funny because that's how, if you think about it, almost every musician, every music artist, that's kind of how they always listen to different music than most their parents were listening to. So it's kind of like they were wrong. And T-Bone Burnett, the great producer, musician, artist, had explained to me how when he was a kid, it was funny how all of the blues music from Muddy Waters and Chuck Berry, all those guys, had basically the white kids weren't even allowed to listen to that music. It wasn't even in the stores. So it went overseas first, and he was explaining they would all be in school hey, look what I got. I got this Chuck Berry record. I got
it's like
this
contraband.
Yeah. It's like, don't tell you, don't tell.
Yeah.
You can, my mom will be gone and dad will be gone. You can listen to this when they leave.
Wow.
So that's just the history of it all. So that's kind of how I grew up too.
Yeah. Wow. Cool. Well, I mean, you clearly got to a good place.
Yeah.
So how did you end up arriving at the title itself, Got Soul, other than the fact that it is a reach back to your earliest days in the gospel?
Well, when first of all, it was kind of like the first sort of song and riff that I really started to write. And, the riff, and I kind of, it's like, God's soul. Didn't know what to say after that. And it was God's soul. And we kept going around. And if you look at all what's going on in the world today, how people all really need to get in touch with our great inner souls here again, and really reach out to people and help people and inspire people and quit all the complaining that everybody's doing, So for me, especially growing up in church and how music and being in church gives you that connection with your soul, with God, just positivity. You can walk in a church, especially in our church, you're supposed to kind of walk in there a little down, but when you leave, you're supposed to be like, hey, everybody, hey, what's going on? Hey, feel good. Let's go help somebody, let's go reach out to some other folks who feeling down and so forth. So I really wanted this record to kind of be an example of all of my sort of life experiences and life stories, but also when you go like, hey, Robert, why are you here? Why are you, it's because we're always supposed to make music to uplift, to bring people joy, dancing, but have lyrics that'll make you want to inspire somebody else to be better. Not only, and listen, we all need it too, don't get me wrong.
I think now especially more
especially
than
now.
ever,
Well, it's funny, everybody's panicking, right now. There's Trump, Hillary. Everybody's losing Facebook friends. They deleting each other. They fighting. Everybody, and it's like, stop it, people. It's like crazy, just relax, put on God's soul, and have a good time.
Yeah. I think also it's a nice reminder of the sort of values that you're taught in the church.
Yeah. Well, that's I mean,
to be benevolent.
Yeah, I mean that's what we're all taught. Whether it's my church, your religion, really it all just comes down to, at the end of the day, you're supposed to make somebody feel wanted and make people feel happy and give people, spread joy and love.
Unified,
and then have a fear of God, that if you do wrong, God's going to come down on you. So you don't need to be like that.
Yeah.
So.
Well, your last album, Lickety Split, was released in 2013, and so that's a few years ago. When did you actually begin to write this record, the follow-up?
Well, I think I began to write it right after Lickety Split came out. It's funny because the riff to the actual title song, Got Soul, I was backstage and we were warming up for a show. I actually got video of it somewhere. And I was like, hey, everybody, check this out. I think I'm on to something. I got something right here. This could be something one day. And which was probably about 2.5 years ago. And so that's when everything's, I at least started that riff. But to get everything, to kind of get a common sense of the whole feel of the record, of inspiration, of joy, of, that whole thing. Taking a lot of these old riffs, which I used to play in church or whatever, kind of really all came into play about 1.5 years ago. Putting all the different songs together and different song titles and knowing what to write about, it all sort of came together and followed one another, But like I say, I wrote probably about, 30, 40 songs.
That's
always the hard part, trying to get down to it. But the fun part is doing the live shows, which some of y'all better come out and tour and hear. You'll hear a lot of these B-sides and a lot of these things, collaborations that I did with other folks, other artists, other writers, other singers, and so you'll be able to hear it all.
Yeah, I was actually going to ask. You have collaborations on this record with Darius Rucker and Anthony Hamilton.
Yeah,
and I know you've been on. You've worked with other artists like I saw Ringo Starr, Elton John, Leon Russell. And so I guess it's kind of a
So funny, I always forget about that, huh? Elton John. And,
and I mean, so I guess it's kind of a two-part question. One is, I would love to know, since you've worked with so many different artists, who is someone who you have yet to work with? Maybe you're in touch with them, you're just trying to find like the right time in both of your schedules, or it's just someone like that you haven't met yet who you'd like to work with.
Dave Grohl! No, I've talked to Dave Grohl, so I really want to work with him probably on the next record or so, or at least do like a short EP or something, do something really crazy and like, hang with all the guys with the long hair and play with the hair all over your face. And,
when you meet up with him, like, can I come?
Come on.
Awesome.
Dave Grohl, Jack White,
Awesome.
The world definitely needs a Robert Randolph, Jack White collaboration.
We would all listen to that. That would be amazing. Well, how did you end up connecting with like Darius and Hamilton on this record?
Well, I've been knowing Darius and Anthony Hamilton a long time, and we've always talked about music and sports and all these different things, and I just felt like this was the perfect moment to have those guys. And Corey Henry, too, another great the greatest young keyboard organ player in the world right now. And so, the song Love Do What It Do was the last song. It wasn't even supposed to be on the record when we hey, we got 13 songs here we're going to record. And we had cut 10 songs and we had to play a show in Nashville on like a Saturday. And we had a day off. So all of my friends out in Nashville were like, hey, what are you doing? You got a day off. Hey, come on down and let's write a song. Let's do something, So I'm like, all right, come on. I ain't got nothing to do. So went over there and we just all kind of sat on the back porch. Nice sunny day. And we were all kind of talking and we just riffing and we playing. And that's when we wrote Love Do What It Do in about 2 hours.
Nice.
And then we were like, yo, we on to something. We think this is a great song. It's great. So then we were like, okay, let me try to sing it. So then I tried to sing. I was like, this ain't my thing.
Yeah.
So then we sat there. We're like, who can we? It's like, next thing you know, we played the show the next day, and I'm like, yo, I got it, Darius. Let's call Darius right now. We sent him the song, and he was totally on board with it. Same with Anthony Hamilton. She Got Soul, which is the second part of Got Soul. Which is has this sort of gospel meets rock and roll meets old throwback feel. Same thing. We kind of wanted this great soulful, and Anthony Hamilton's another guy that comes from church and gets that whole vibe. So he immediately sang it and played it, and it came out great.
Yeah, great.
Just excited to have these guys, and then you'll see these guys performing with us. There's a lot of times in the past where I did collaborations with people, and you're like, hey, Clapton's on the record. Are you going to have him come out and play? It's like, I don't think so.
Yeah. Yeah, you got to kind of know.
I don't think so.
When someone is.
We did get Dave Matthews to come out on a couple occasions to play songs with us on tour when we were on tour with him.
Yeah.
Years ago. So
yeah,
those were great,
Yeah.
But we didn't. Carlos never came. My buddy Carlos Santana. What's up, Carlos? What's up, Dave? What's up, Clapton? What's up, everybody? I forgot, and rest in peace to the great Leon Russell, who actually gave me a pedal steel guitar.
Wow.
That he had bought for his nephew in the 1970s. He gave it to me about 4 years ago. I was like, I'm going to just get this to you. It's actually a really expensive one, too.
Wow. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure you have a huge collection.
Yeah. And one of my little cousins who also plays in church back home, he came on my house and he was like, let me have this one, man. First of all, we went on tour and he took the guitar. And I went over and like, give me my guitar, you idiot.
How often do you make it back to the church you grew up in? Are you like a local celebrity when you come back?
Yeah, they want me to perform there. I was like, I don't perform for you people, for my family in church. What are you talking about?
Yeah.
So I go to a different church when I'm home.
Right.
But it's good. Marcus, my drummer, he's actually plays this in church now. He's like the main guy. He goes, my aunt, which is his mother, she's like the assistant pastor and the singer, so she always makes him go.
Yeah. Well, you also connected with a really cool Grammy-winning producer on this record, Matt Pearson.
Yeah.
How did you guys end up connecting?
Well, Matt Pearson, who produced this record, he was actually, when I first got signed to Warner Brothers, he was the one guy that was there who kind of got my whole thing, the whole story, and how the music can, how we can make great music together. Mm-hmm. But then he got fired from Warner Brothers, like 6 months after. And so it was so funny when he reached out to me about a year and a half ago, and he was saying that he was at Sony Masterworks now, which is a great label that we're on now. And shout out to Sony Masterworks, ladies and gentlemen. So, reconnected with him, and we talked, and we went over songs, and, he was a great asset to this whole recording process, and it was great having Matt Pearson there.
Yeah, awesome. And the record is out now. It came out on the 17th,
yes.
I believe. Yeah.
Get it, everybody. It feels good. It sounds really good.
Yeah. It
was recorded really good. We wrote some great songs, as we're talking about now here.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, speaking of which, you're welcome to break out the pedals.
Well, yeah, I'll play. Yeah. As long as there's a guitar around, I'll always play a little something. Sounds like we're in the backwoods somewhere, right? That's the hokey Robert Randolph. Howdy, folks.
That was wonderful. And I feel blessed to have been able to sit right next to you as
Thank you.
So you're also going on tour soon.
Yes.
I want to say your kickoff date is March 9th.
Yes, March 9th in Boston, I believe. Boston House of Blues, yes.
Wonderful.
Yes, we will see everybody there on tour.
Yeah.
Bring your earplugs.
All right. And you can find the rest of your tour dates on Robert Randolph's Facebook page, as well as your website.
Website and Instagram at RRTFB. Check it out. Come see us, everybody.
Yeah.
It's going to be awesome couple of years, and we look forward to making lots of great more music and coming to hang out with you and everybody else. We will see you guys everywhere. Let's go.
Well, we really want to thank you so much again for being here with us today, Robert Randolph.
Thank you.
Wonderful musician. And thank you so much for the mini concert. Please come back and visit us anytime.
Thank you.